Hey watch lovers, Brad from Brent Miller Jewelers. And today I thought we'd take a look at these two GMTs, both having stainless steel fixed bezels and kind of matte black dials. I will throw the other one in here at the end, but I thought this would be a good comparison to ask you which one you like and prefer. So on my left here is the Tudor Black Bay Pro, and on my right is the SBGE283. So again, both of them here. I have the 285 laying here. I'll get that up in a second. But looking at these case dimensions, on the Black Bay Pro, again, measured diagonally, kind of above the crown here, across the case, 39.5. On previous models, I think I've measured 39.3 or 4. So I don't know if that's user error or if it's just slight variance in each model, but I do try to take measurements of each model I review and not just rely on past reviews. So take that for what it's worth. On the 283, I measured 42.6, and that's above the crown protector. So again, about the 4 to, I guess the 2 down here to the 8. So a little bit larger, 42.6. However, when I measured them straight across, the fixed stainless steel bezel, on the Tudor, the exact same 39.5. So that sits nice and flush against the case. So this exact same dimension. However, on the Grand Seiko here, that you can see that that bezel does sit on top of the case. It comes in a little bit. 40 even. So about a 0.5 millimeter larger than the Black Bay Pro here. And then further, one more, I took a measurement of the crystal. You have a raised sapphire crystal here on the Black Bay Pro. 32.3 is what I measured across the crystal. And on the 283 here, again, slightly raised, maybe not as quite as much as the Omega or as the Tudor, but 32.3. So almost about what, a 0.5 millimeter smaller on the Black Bay Pro, but again, very close crystal size on both of these. Moving along, 14.2 millimeters thick is what I measured, compared to 14.5 on the Black Bay Pro. So again, very similar on case thickness. However, the slab side, I think the Black Bay Pro just looks thicker visually. The lugs curve down a little bit more here on your 285 model. And then you have a 47.5 lug tip to lug tip on the Grand Seiko versus 47.6. So again, almost nearly identical lug to lug on both of these. The other thing I want to point out, I'm going to call it the effective lug to lug. You do have male end links on both of these. The Black Bay Pro, I measured at 51.2, again, at the widest point of those end links. And on the Grand Seiko, I measured 51.4. So again, almost identical on the what I'll call effective lug to lug, even though it is sloped down here quite a bit on both. We have a 20 millimeter lug width on the Tudor, so that does vary. One of the differences here, you have a 22 millimeter on the Grand Seiko. So one of the first kind of dimensions outside of the case, 22 versus 20. And then the tapering down to 16 at the last link, down to 20. So you can obviously see the bracelet is going to wear thicker on wrist. The clasp itself, we do have the micro adjustability with that T-fit clasp in here. Again, just a little bit of pressure. Sorry, my gloves are in the way, and then you can slide. Hopefully you can see that there. So you do have the nice micro adjustability on the fly. The clasp itself, 16th that last link, back out to 18 on the deploying style clasp with the fold over Tudor shield logo on it. We do have no half links looking at this, but you do have the T-fit, which is nice, and you do have screws, one-sided screws on the Tudor. Versus the Grand Seiko, again, we have a deploying clasp, and that clasp stays at 20 millimeters. So it does integrate and fit nicely. That last link at 20, the clasp at 20. So while it is thicker, it does have a very nice transition into the clasp, and the clasp itself is obviously, if you look in here, is smaller. However, do not have any micro adjustability on this model. So we do have half links. You can see plenty of them here. It looks like you have one, like I say, plenty. You have a half link on each side. So you do have a half link to get that fit. And on this titanium, I did not mention this model, if you're not familiar with it, is titanium. With titanium, it looks like we have pin and collar system compared to screws. So very often you do see that with titanium. Sometimes you do get screws with titanium, but not on this one. So hopefully that gives you an idea on size. Water resistance, you have 100 meters on your spring drive. You do have an exhibition case back on your 285 model here. 100 meters of water resistance. You have the caliber 9R66 movement, 72 hours of power reserve. You do have a signed GS screw down crown. You have crown guards protecting it. And on the titanium case and bracelet, I weighed this at 121.1 grams. So about 121 grams. Comparatively speaking, on the Tudor, I guess I should go over the full solid stainless steel case back, housing the MT5652 movement, 70 hours of power reserve, and again, signed Tudor Rose, screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance, so you're getting an extra 100 meters of water resistance out of this model. And on the full stainless steel bracelet, 171.3 grams. So you have about 50 grams heavier on the stainless steel compared to the Grand Seiko on titanium. Taking a close look at the dials here. I did have my GMT hand. I moved it so it didn't match. Usually I would have it at that 6 or 7 o'clock position. Because of the spring drive, I wanted to keep that power reserve open for you to take a look at. Date window, both at 3 o'clock. And looking at these, closely side by side, both matte black dials. But what I will say is you just have a off-white kind of eggshell hour and minute hand, as well as markers. There's ceramic Lume plots here on the Tudor with the yellow, just very matte. Everything on this Tudor Black Bay Pro is very matte, which I actually really like. Comparing it to the Grand Seiko here, you obviously have some polishing on those hour markers. Very nice. You have brushed and polishing on the case here. The side of the Tudor case is polished. You can see the tape is still on this as it comes from the factory. So again, I've rambled on long enough. Wanted to really throw these side by side. Last but not least, I guess I should mention retail price on these. The Tudor Black Bay Pro retails at $4,150, whereas the Grand Seiko retails at $8,400. So double the price, really, or almost, I guess, actually, yeah, double the price. So, may not be shopping these, side by side. But again, I think very similar proportionally. I just thought it would be a good review to put these side by side. And again, I have the 285 here. I didn't feature this one as much just because it does not have the black dial to match the Tudor. If we get a polar Black Bay Pro, you better believe for sure I will do another review with the 285 here. But for today, I kept it to the matte black dials on this 283 model. So let me know what you think of both of these. Do you have a strong preference either way? If it's your money, actually, let's do this. 2 questions. You're getting one of these for free. Which one are you taking? And then if you're buying one with your own money, which way are you spending your money? I always think that's 2 different questions. Again, on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, I will say you can absolutely feel the lightness with the titanium. That 50 grams makes a huge difference. But on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, I do like the tapered bracelet. This is comfortable, but I do like the taper on the Black Bay Pro. So both fantastic watches. I highly suggest trying both on if you can. They definitely feel different on wrist. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think it's just what works best for you. So let me hit the lights quick. As always, greatly appreciate you viewing. Sorry I rambled on a little bit longer on this video, but I wanted to make sure I gave you all the specs. Take a quick look at Lume, Black Bay Pro on my left, SBGE283 on my right. As always, thanks for viewing. If there's anything I can do for you, shoot me an email, brad@brentlmiller.com, and we'll see you in the next video.